You know, Sahar Nation, I have absolutely no idea if you will ever see today's video. Like, not a freaking clue, because I've got to be honest with you. For today's video, to properly preview this team, I've had to Google this team name a couple of times, and I'm pretty sure the FBI is on its way.
Glorious! No, I won't give in till I'm victorious.
Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 992, and today we are back with another brand new video. Today's video, we are here once again to preview and hopefully correctly predict another game in European football. Before we do that, however, if you are new around here and you don't mind subscribing, that would be absolutely incredible. It doesn't cost you a penny and it just helps us, the nation, on our way towards 55 freaking K. But another European night is upon us, so let's dive in and talk about it. First up, as always, let's turn our attention to the opposition and preview Young Boys. Don't, okay? Just don't. Anyway, YB, as I'm now going to start calling them, actually have something in common with some of our most recent European competition, that being FC Midtjylland and Feyenoord. And that little thing they've got in common is the fact that they are unbeaten in the league. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are against another unbeaten team in domestic football. Is there any chance that we can play someone that's getting shafted left, right and centre? Is there any chance we can play someone who's struggling? Now, it is worth noting that despite being undefeated in domestic football, they have actually recently lost in the Europa League group stages, losing their first game versus group favourites Porto 2-1. But in that game of football, yes, they lost. They showed that they are a very good footballing team, sort of matching Porto throughout the entire game, and again, just losing out. And they did have a couple of opportunities to get themselves back into it and maybe even go on and win in the game. And that leads me to the most obvious question that I'm sure we all have regarding this team, and that is, how good actually are they? Because you hear that they won the Switzerland League by 20 odd points last season, but what does that really mean? How does that translate over to this season? Are they still the same, or have they been weakened? Well, unfortunately, I have to sit here and tell you they are just as good as they were last year, maybe even stronger with the players that they've brought in. And they're quite unique in the way that they play, because they can be that hard to break down physical outfit if they want to be, but then in the next again week, they're attacking and free-flowing, scoring goals for fun. They're a very strange football team, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care what game plan or game style that they'll come into this match versus Rangers, but based on what they do normally at home, they are going to be in the front foot and going to be looking to score a lot of goals. So using our balancing scale from FC Midtjylland to Legia, I'd say it's a lot more Midtjylland than the park the bus style that we had when we played them at their park. And they have very dangerous individuals within their team who can create an opportunity in nothing, and they've got about 3 or 4 strikers on their books who just score goals for fun. And speaking of dangerous forwards, using just one of them as an example, his name is, I can't pronounce that bad boy, but it's a very recognisable name, especially during his stint with PSG. He may be 35 years old now, and you might be saying, oh, that's no somebody to worry about. This guy's stats for Young Boys is terrifying. Since joining Young Boys, he's scored 116 goals in 173 games with 35 assists thrown into boot. That's 151 goal involvements in just 173 games. That is just one of the strikers. They've got another guy who's a lot more pacey and a lot more direct, and he's averaging a goal every 2 games as well. Scoring goals isn't a problem, especially at home. Now, this is the part of the video where we need to discuss the pitch, and again, I'm sorry for having to bring this up, but it's another fake pitch. It's an Astro Park once again. Yay, said no one ever. And I'm sure that's going to add another annoyance for Rangers in this game of football. Not the fact that they are a very good team with very good strikers and boys that can create opportunities for the strikers out in nothing. You also slap in a plastic pitch, and it could be a very, very tricky afternoon for Rangers. But there is one other thing I found during my research for today's video about this team that just absolutely baffles my mind, is how flexible they are with formations. Now, we talked about how their game style and the way they play can sometimes vary from the defensive to the attack minded. It sort of shifts from game to game. Well, so does their formation, and didn't just take my word for it. In the last 4 games alone, they have played 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3 and 3-4-1-2. The 3 at the back formation, by the way, was used in European football versus Porto. Their flexibility is terrifying. How do you plan for that? Like, how do you plan for a team that changes their formation week in and week out? That is some strategy by the manager. But again, the impressive thing is, no matter what they chop and change, whether it's personnel or formation, the results continue to be consistent and they continue to be a good attacking team. If I was to hazard a guess, it may be the 4-2-3-1, especially being at home. But again, they could shift it to anything. So it's going to be interesting to see how we have planned for this game of football. And with that being said, that's the preview all done and dusted for Young Boys. Now we turn our attention to where it belongs, and that is on the Rangers. And from the press conference, there were some incredible lines said by Steven Gerrard during it, including this one, which is my favourite. And if you don't mind, I would like to use this in the thumbnail. So 3, 2, 1. There's your thumbnail. But all joking on that aside, one of the main things that I took away from the press conference is that we want to get something from this game of football. You look at our games away from home, we never quite done enough, and that came back to bite us on the you-know-what scale. So Gerrard did say the team is going there to try to win the game, but it's important that we come away with something. So that just kind of gives me the feeling that we won't be as offensive as we have been in the last couple of games, especially against this level of opposition. We may be the ones that kind of sit more back and try and hit on the counter. And that perfectly leads me to the question of the episode, and it asks itself, if we are going to be slightly more defensive in this game of football, and we probably need to be at our absolute best to stop them from scoring, who do you play at centre half? Now, I know I've asked that a couple of times lately, but the question remains, is he going to go with Helander and Goldson again? Or do we play the Croatian Prince Katic himself after his performance on Saturday, where he gave Big Cosgrove not even a sniff at the goal? That's where I think it's going to be a key part of the game. Like, you know, I like to discuss the key phases. I genuinely feel like our defensive line needs to be at its absolute best in this game of football. It's tricky conditions against a tricky team, so we need our absolute best. And I think we'll see who Gerrard actually rates as his best centre-half pairing in this game of football. If he goes with Helander and Goldson, that will tell me a lot. Or if he gives Nikola Katic the nod in this game, that will say that he now trusts the man in the biggest moment. It's going to be interesting, but again, I just wanted to know what you think should be the centre-half pairing in the game tomorrow. Me personally, as good as Helander was versus Feyenoord, I would love to see Katic playing this game of football. Seeing Helander's his performance as well, playing on the plastic pitch of Livy, wasn't too encouraging, and I just think the way that Young Boys play is a perfect battle between their striker and Katic, because they're aerial dominant, and we'll see who's the best out of the two. But with that being said, we move away from the press conference and dive into the latest team news. Now, we're going to keep this very, very brief. We've got some good news and some pictures actually of Joe Aribo with his new headband and his sort of protective gear on his head. That's keeping his fitness and training going. But again, there's nothing to suggest that he will be back playing with the Peter Cech-esque helmet tomorrow. I think it's still in the original timeline, slightly after the international break. There's been no fresh updates since the last preview video on Jordan Jones and Ryan Kent. We know they're ahead of schedule. We know that for a fact. And we know that Kent has been training now for about 7 to 10 days without any pain. So he will be close to a return to the Rangers team. But I just don't think they'll risk him on a plastic pitch tomorrow. And last but not least, you've got John Flanagan, who continues to edge closer to being at 100%. But again, based on the way that Barisic is playing, that's a battle there I cannot wait to see who wins. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That's the preview, that's the team news, and that's the press conference wrapped up in a neat little bow. But now it is time for the prediction on. So now you've heard the news, you've seen the preview. What do you think is going to be happening tomorrow? While you're getting your thoughts and opinions out there, I will give you mine very, very briefly. I'm expecting a tough game of football. Hell, this is one of these games that we could narrowly lose out on. That's how good that this team is. But I've been thinking of one result the entire week, especially looking at the preview, and that is Rangers 1, Young Boys 1. I see a draw happening in this game of football. And a draw against Young Boys wouldn't be the worst result in the world, especially given how good they are at home. I hope to pray I'm wrong and we go out there and absolutely smash it, but I'm going to go with my head and not my heart, and I'm picking Rangers 1, Young Boys 1. And now that me and thee have had their say, before we jump over to Twitter, there is one other thing that we need to do, ladies and gentlemen. Grab your frickin' refreshment. Shout out to Stevie and Andy, who me and Baz met in the pub today. They were nice enough to have given me this gift. It's absolutely incredible. It's CJ Novo 92. I don't know if you can actually see it on the screen. It also says sponsor break on it, so you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. 3, 2, 1. Sponsor break! So over to Twitter then, there's been 1,070 votes. Thank you so much for getting involved. 6% votes for Young Boys. There's a joke in there somewhere. 15% votes for the draw, but the far away winner with 79% of the people's vote is a Rangers away win. So let's see what they've had to say then. Kyle Hepburn agrees with me actually and goes with 1-1. That's unusual. Daniel Woodward writes in Rangers 2-1 with El Buffalo and Defoe grabbing a goal. I think we'll just about pinch it. George went confident. Yes. I reckon we will pinch a 2-1 win with Big Buff and Saturday night getting our goals. Peter Ramsey says Rangers 2, Young Boys 2 with Katic and Jack getting the goals for us. 55 rates in 2-1 to the famous. Very popular scoreline already, I can see from the old channel favourites. Roy O'Neill writes in 3-1 Rangers, however, with Morelos double and a King goal. That would be nice to see. Barney Stinson agrees with him by saying 3-1 to the famous. Alfredo, Ojo and Arfield with our goals. They may be a decent team, but they're no Glasgow Rangers. I love that, mate. Blue Viper writes in, media saying it's a horrible plastic pitch and we'll struggle. Yeah, like we're not used to horrible plastic pitches. Thomas Lee writes in 1-0 to Rangers with a Tav penalty. Michael Belton also writes in 1-0 with a Tavernier goal. Big Dave writes in, when Rangers win, I want you to sing Glorious Domination at the start of the video. That's a deal, Big Dave. The deal has been made. Big G writes in, could be a tough game, but I'll go with a 1-0 squeaky bum time, as you like to say, CJ. And the last one we'll read out in tonight's video comes from Nathan Kerr, and he writes in, hard fought game on an artificial surface, but I think a composed and disciplined 1-0 with Morelos doing the business. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You've heard from the people, you've heard from myself. If you haven't done so already, what are you waiting for? Get your thoughts and opinions down there in the comment section below. Before we wrap up today's video though, I need to give a special shout out to the legends on the Patreon's account. I am currently in the midst of moving to my new house, so in a couple of weeks time there should be a lot of changes in the old background, and that's all down to the support from the legends on the Patreon's account. If you would like to support the channel, as always, link for that is down there in the description below. And I've been Sage Over 92. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and bye. Oh, by the way, Rocky wants me to say his prediction is 2-1. Okay.